And it's the next day. Good Tuesday morning to you. Alright, I got a little wrapped up in things yesterday, but I picked up some supplies and we're going to go ahead and build these cucumber houses, if you will. I thought about doing a hoop house, but kind of how to do the rounded top type thing, and it's not actually going to be a hoop house, it's going to be built out of wood. This wood. I have a few criteria. One, I'm trying to keep this at a reasonably low cost, but this is like $24 worth of material just to build two houses. And even after I bought it, I was like second guessing myself and going, oh, should I buy more of the wood in the middle? So let me just describe what you've got is on the left here is a 12 pack of 36-inch landscape or grade stakes. In the middle is one 8-foot furring strip, and on the right is plastic garden fence. You can see it says garden fence on there. I picked that because I wanted the plastic is just a lot easier to work with than the metal. Metal would probably be more varmint proof, but also getting back to the sort of the criteria. So reasonably low cost, accessible, not wasting a lot of materials for stuff that I bought. When I bought the stakes, I was like, okay, I've got 12 of these. I need at least 8 because they're mainly the legs of these houses, of these structures, and they're going to be driven into the ground. That's why I got stakes. I could have gotten just a bunch of the furring strips, but as it turns out, I ran a rough calculation, and if I want them about this length, then I can get 2 stakes out of a furring strip. As an 8-foot furring strip, these are 3-foot stakes. So I'll let you do the math on that one. When I get 2, I'll have a little bit left over. Ultimately, it ends up working out about the same in cost. I think I paid $10. Actually, it might be slightly cheaper with the stakes. I paid $10 for the stakes and that one furring strip. These are designed for construction. When they put up a ceiling and they want to try and level out a ceiling, make sure even if all the joists up above are not perfectly level, you can use the furring strips and some shims to level everything out. That's why they call it a furring strip. Those are $2.50 a pop. So based on that, in these 2021 prices after the pandemic, with everything going up in price, you can kind of figure on your own if you wanted to do your own design. You can buy the stakes in different lengths. That's a nice thing. They have like 12, 18, 24, 36, and even 48 inch, although they're not all 12 packs. The longer you get them, the less you tend to get in a pack. But that's what I've got here. That's what I'm working with. I think the garden, what is it called? Garden fence. That was, I think, $12 or $13, and then there's all the tax. Here in Southern California, we get hit pretty hard on tax. So, yeah, about $24 total for everything. Actually, about $27 after taxes, but that's what I've got. Let's see if we can get this thing going. I'm going to do a little pre-assembly, and then I'm going to do the final assembly, and then I'll put the garden fence on top of it. So, building structures first, then covering them. Here we go. Well, it's not perfect. It may not be perfectly square. When I went to go drive a screw in, the first one I drove in, it cracked it. They're good screws and all of that, but it's a soft wood. You may have also seen me sanding at the beginning there. I just don't like splinters, and if I'm going to build something somebody else might touch, I don't want them to get a splinter. This stuff is very rough cut. They're really just intended for construction sites and just something being driven into the ground to mark something. I'm using them for an actual structure. It's a little rickety right now in its current form, but once driven into the ground, that should solidify it a bit. There's a something spanning the top, but nothing spanning the bottom to keep it from kind of wobbling. But like I said, once driven into the ground, that becomes that sort of structural piece. So the idea is I need to build 4 of these. I need to go through that same process. Then I'll be driving them into the, well, let's just get those done, and I'll come back once it's done. Okay, if I've done this right, all the wood's been cut. It's time to do this. I'm going to try and do this live instead of doing a time lapse on it, because it really shouldn't be that bad, but if it gets to taking a bit more time, then I'll slip back into time lapse and show you how I do 2 of them. But I should mention the dimensions in case anybody wants to replicate the same thing. The stakes are 36-inch stakes. I'm planning to drive them about 6 inches into the ground. We'll see how that goes, because I've got some constraints and I'll have to figure that out. The piece is running across. No, it's not even in frame. Let's get one in frame for you here. So, once again, let's see if I can't hold this up and show you. So you can see I got the legs going down. Those are the 36-inch. And then this piece coming across here is 30 inches. And then on top of all of that, once they're in, I've got these pieces that I've cut, which are 24 inches. So those are the dimensions. The 24 is going front to back. First thing I got to do is remove the stakes that I use to kind of visualize it. And then I've got a hammer, and I'm going to try and hammer the one in the back. I want to try and make sure that that lines up about 24 inches from the one in the front, which means I need to go get the tape measure. Okay, it's all screwed up. Alright, the next step is going to be to put the covering on it, the actual part of it that I'm intending for the plant to sort of grab onto, and will also sort of anchor the rest of it. So, I mean, it's still kind of rickety here. I wasn't trying to build perfectly solid. I just want to build a barrier, but a tall enough barrier that the cucumber can grab onto. So that's why I'm calling it a cucumber house. It's not shaped like a house. Anyway, the next thing we need is the actual fencing. So let's see what we've got here. This one's sort of the best deal I could get. It may not be a perfect solution. And I can already see it's all held together with tape that I'm going to have to cut open. But you can kind of see the design there a little bit. So let me get the knife, cut that open. Okay. You know, all the work I did to make a larger garden and everything else, I still have kind of confined space here to work in. I could take this all out to the driveway, would probably be better. But we'll just work with what we can right now. Including a dull knife, to draw out the better one. Okay, bug. I think the bugs are trying to get back to the plant, and I'm disturbing their normal habit. So this is the stuff. It'll be hanging over kind of like that. Hopefully that's coming through. And I'm going to use staples to hold it on. So let me figure out how long this needs to be and cut a piece, and we can get started with that. I'm going to have to go freehand for this, so pardon me while I take you off the tripod. What I'm looking at here, I did cut the piece roughly to length. I think it's pretty good. What I want to do is I want to staple across the top here, so I needed to have that kind of lined up somewhat in the middle, but then that means that this one's more towards the edge. So ultimately what I'm going to do is I'll space them out so that they're pulled kind of tight, and then I'm going to use staples to staple it on. Unfortunately, trying to show you this while I'm doing it is just impractical. So I'm going to go ahead and get that step done, and I'll come back when I'm done. Oh, it's getting noisy around here between the neighbor's gardener and the air conditioner running. But I got the top on and stretched, and hopefully you can see the staples running across. Just don't look over there, or I had a lot of misses. But now it's somewhat strong. I could probably staple along this edge and along the back edge. Well, back edge is going to be hard. But then the next thing is to staple along the sides after pulling the plant in to make sure, just to keep the plant reined in. That was the whole point of this entire structure, is to rein this thing in so it doesn't take over the rest of the garden bed. And you can see it lets a lot of light and water through, but it does give little places for the tendrils to just sort of grab onto. So that's the idea. I'll put you in time lapse and see if we can't finish this one up. Okay, so off the tripod and back up a little bit so you can kind of get an idea what it all looks like. Let's come around by it. It's a really narrow passage right now, but you can see it's open at the back. Hopefully it won't try to climb up the back, but if that does happen, I think what I can do is just put another piece of this mesh, this garden fence, behind it to keep the plant itself from going too far in the back. But I think I got 25 feet of this stuff. I think I just used 8. I got another one to build, so that's another 8. But overall, let's see if I can sort of back up and give you this angle on it. Or even better yet, hey, let's do the whole garden. And even though it's a little bit of a mess, see how it kind of fits in there. So that's what that looks like. I think you got the idea. I'm just going to go ahead and build the next one, turn on some music, and just get it done. That may be it for today. I don't really see myself doing too much else. This has taken longer than I thought it would. But yeah, that's it for today. Let's see what tomorrow brings.